The Roots of Success podcast is for the landscape professional who's looking to up their game. We're not talking lawns or grass here. We're talking about people, process, and profits. The things deep within the business that need focus to scale a successful company. From hiring the right people and managing your team to improving your operations and mastering your finances, we've got a brain trust of experts to help you nurture the roots of a successful business and grow to the next level. This is the Roots of Success.
Tommy Cole with Roots of Success podcast. We got an amazing guest. He's got some great inside information about how he got started and how he run his business. Is Jason Cromley from Hidden Creek Landscape in Columbus, Ohio. How are you, Jason?
Couldn't be any better, man.
Great. Well, we're excited to have you join us. So Hidden Creek Landscape, man, you guys do amazing work, but tell me about the business. How'd you get started? What's the breakdown of your company?
It's a fun story, so I'll give you a little bit of the history, then hit some of the breakdowns with regards to how we look at each division. But the story starts in 1998. My best friend and I were at the Ohio State University studying landscape architecture. We both didn't see ourselves as desk people, so we decided to make the switch to landscape horticulture. Once we did that, we realized very quickly that it was more of a hands-on approach. We met a bunch of other people and we decided to get a landscaping job in the summer of 97 for another landscaping company. Of course, our paychecks were bouncing. We knew more than the owners did.
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy. So the next summer I was like, let's just start our own business. I mean, how hard could it be? I had a pickup truck. So we're still in college. We're bartending at night and we're doing landscaping projects between classes and on the weekends.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we both graduated in 99 a year later and really just started to pick up a lot of steam. And the fact that I was from Columbus, Ohio, I had a big network from the high school I went to, and I had just a ton of friends from our world of bartending. I'm a talker. You'll pick up on that when you tell me, Jason, that it's over, stop talking, the interview's over. You'll pick up on that quick. But I was just having fun networking. So every year we just started to grow little by little. And I guess I can't say little by little. We were growing at almost a 20% clip per year for our first 12 years and just started adding to it. And I kind of gravitated more towards the design build side at the time, where my partner gravitated more towards the maintenance side of the business. So for this first few years, we didn't really take any of our money. We just put everything back into the company, buying mowers, buying trailers. We were bartending. That's honestly how we survived the first couple of years. Even myself getting married in 01, I was making more as a bartender than my wife was making as a nurse with a college degree.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the fun part about how we got it. And we really were doing whatever we could at the time. Any job, no job too small, no job too big. And we really started to work on our network just a little bit more. And our referrals were coming in because the one thing that I can still say to this day is we knew our why we started the business when we really started it 25 years ago. And in our peer group, we just read Start With Why, Simon Sinek. So you might hear why a couple times here.
So what's your why?
Yeah. So the why, and I have it all written down, but it really boiled down to, I finally was good at something that I loved and I excelled at the same time. I didn't love college. I didn't love econ classes, biology classes, but I loved plant walks. I loved learning the names in Latin and English, right? I loved learning how the design would work and where the best plant doesn't always work if it's not in the best location. And I realized that every time we finished a project, we got hugs. We were appreciated for what we gave them. We gave them a better life when they came home. We gave them appreciation for their investment. That was no longer just a home. It was their sanctuary.
Yeah.
And the more that we were able to bring in good knowledge, great communication, and a better relaxing experience for these homeowners, the more I realized, I could just keep doing this every day. And again, they always say, you never work a day in your life when you love your job. And I truly loved my job. And I can sit here 25 years later and on Sunday night, I'm all giddy because I'm like, I got to go to the work tomorrow, right? It's Sunday.
Right.
I'm going back on Monday. So we really kind of just kept growing. I'd say when it comes to the overall story, we had a couple big moments in our growth. And the first big moment we really had was when we did our facility. our new headquarters here in Columbus. And I'll be happy to send you guys some pictures, show it to you. We post it all the time because it's really our swan song.
Yep.
We were only a $3.5 million company when we decided to buy 8 acres and get a design done for, at the time, a $2.5 million facility. And we had zero money. Our bank said, we're not giving you any more money.
Yeah.
So, and you can't show this podcast to my wife or my partner's wife because we didn't really tell them.
Yeah.
We put our life insurance policies on the line.
Everything's on the line.
Yeah. We had to go get a line of credit just for the down payment. And we said, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's take a gamble. But I didn't do it until I talked to a huge advocate in the industry, someone who's very well known out of Chicago, and pitched him my idea about this corporate facility and said, what do you think? I want all these rich people to come see me. He's like, I don't think it's going to work. I don't think they're going to come to you. I think it's crazy. Don't do it. And, all someone like me needs is tell me no. So of course I'm like, we're doing it.
Yeah.
We did it.
The more no's I get, the better I want to do it.
Oh, the more win it is for me. Right. So, and the greater the risk, the greater the reward. So we made a huge risk, build a facility that was unlike anybody else in our area, and maybe even the Midwest at the time. And again, we were $3.5 million making a decision like this. And the facility to this day, we now have a total corporate sales of a little over $21 million.
Right.
And we haven't changed the facility at all. So we build it for growth. We build it for expansion. And I built it so that I could avoid kitchen tables. It's my big speech when people walk through the door. I was tired of meetings starting at 6 o'clock at night when both people were finally home and the dog was jumping on me. The kids were interrupting me. I was there till 8 o'clock. And to be honest, it might have been a divorce half the time I left because they weren't on the same page for a project.
Right.
So I finally said, you know what, if they come to us, they've already had the conversation. They know this project is happening. No one's going to interrupt us. So we said, if you build it, they will come.
They will come. So go back to the facility. Like almost nobody has that in the industry, right? I mean, it's very, very few far between to bring the clients to the facility. But what you're saying is that was a game changer. Because why? Because you could showcase everything about you, the team, the product, the vision, and buy into that?
Absolutely. And it was kind of interesting when we were going through building the project, we went to the architect's building and they kind of called it their design center. And it was their war room where they had all their samples out, huge table, pictures of the work. And I was in this room and I'm like, oh my God, this is so much faster than, me going to 10 different buildings or driving over Columbus and them emailing me samples. So I took that same thought and I said, your room here, I want that. So the whole design was really based around what we called our design center, which is where we have our pictures on our wall, our sample material we use for paving, lighting samples, decomposed granite samples, brick samples, synthetic turf samples. We have TVs on the wall for showing the clients what it's all about.
Yeah.
And when the clients come in, it's fast, it's efficient, and it's super informative for both us and for them. So what we get is the buy-in.
Yeah.
So it's a requirement at our company. They have to come to our facility for the presentation. So the first meeting's at their house. We understand what they're about. We want to understand, where the project is, access to the yard. I'm looking at what kind of cars they drive. I'm asking what kind of vacation they go on. I'm trying to figure out who they are as a person. And then they come to our facility and they kind of know when they pull in, Tommy, that's the best part, that this is not going to be cheap.
Yeah.
No one who has a facility like this is wasting their money. So you get a lot of compliments right off the bat saying, you guys must really know what you're doing here. I'm like, we're working on trying to figure it out to make it so it's a fun project for you. Yeah. And it's funny, we mostly ask them where they went the third meeting to be, and they say, oh no, we'll just come back to you. This is much easier.
Yeah. Let's not go back to my house. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it. Because at their house, they're distracted. They want to walk outside 4 times, look at all these different angles. I'm like, we're just wasting time here. So
love it.
That facility has probably increased our close rate by, I don't have a number quantitative to put to it, but it works.
That's great. No, I've seen pictures. I think you hosted a peer group here recently.
Yep.
I saw pictures, even more pictures and your social media posts. And it is something I have got to go see for myself because it's like in the middle of agriculture fields, kind of like build it and they will come, right? It's kind of like the ballpark, right? Up north and in the middle of the cornfields. And it's fascinating. I'm sure you're bursting at the seams as we speak, right? And go, probably should have built even bigger, right?
Always bigger, right? It's the
Yeah.
American dream. We got
Yeah.
pretty lucky when we bought the pool company. We actually were able to acquire his 4 acres as well too. So what we have in Central Ohio, which is a booming, area right now, we're on the west side of Columbus and he's on the east side of Columbus.
Oh,
So really, we've kind of got 2 locations now, which is great. So out of, call it 150 employees, he's got about 25, and we have the other 125 at this location.
yeah. Nice. That's great. So pool acquisition, that's been a hot topic recently, especially since the pandemic, right? Pool companies got busy and overwhelmed, overbooked. And here comes the landscape industry, right? We know how to do everything, so to speak. What made you just jump into that? That's not, that's not a normal thing, but it's actually been a hot topic as of the last few years. But explain going through that process and explain what it's done for your business.
Yeah, it's actually one of my most, proud moments beside the building. It was the purchase of the pool company. And I did it pretty different than a lot of other landscaping companies. And not to generalize anybody, but just people that I've talked to.
Right.
And the fact that the pool company I bought, he had become a friend of mine. He had become one of, honestly, our number one referrals. He would go in and do a pool and pool only. And he was like, you guys should call Hidden Creek. They can help you with the patio. They can help with the landscaping. So whenever he had a chance, he'd bring us in. And, I'm like, what do you want as a referral? What can I do for you? He's like, nah, nothing. Someday I'm going to come to you for something. Well, sure enough, he's like, I want you to buy me.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to.
I want out, but I don't want out. What he really wanted was to just not be the owner anymore. I talked to some friends and they're like, you know what? You don't need him. Just do it on your own. Like, you built projects bigger than this. You can handle a pool. And, of course you think about it, right? And most people are always like, you know what? I can do this. I don't need help.
Yeah.
Pool's a huge investment. Pipes underground, pipes in concrete, different levels, chemicals. I'll be honest, you screw up a patio, you can pull that up and relay it pretty quickly. You screw up a pool, you're 6 months down the road.
Yeah.
You're fixing leaks and, you can get a bad name quick. So he and I, decided to do the purchase. I was able to take PPP money and parlay that right into a long-term investment.
Yep.
So instead of, having nice cars and a boat and buying toys, I just took that into the next big investment.
Get a pool company.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's been, we closed 12/31 of 2020. And at the time, he was 2 years booked out on pools on his construction. Mm-hmm. And he had probably 215 accounts in service. And I like the fact that he had both. But the biggest thing that he had, that he still has to this day, is he is known as the best pool builder in Central Ohio. No one touches him. And if he were to walk out of here tomorrow and I said, just keep your phone on for 5 years, he could keep us busy with referrals, probably 10 pools a year, every single year.
Wow.
And if he stops by and says hi to a homeowner, oh, Jim's here. And that's it. It's instant trust. He's the guy that walks in and makes everything better.
Yeah.
So it's been a great investment. He has still been on board for 3 years. There's still talk of him staying on for more because he wants to see it be a success. We are changing his name. So we've taken his name completely out and we've morphed our name from Hidden Creek Landscaping to just Hidden Creek.
Yep.
So of course, as you know, you say the word landscaping, you say anybody, I do landscaping. They're like, oh, you cut grass. That's so cool. I'm like,
you plant bushes.
Yeah. You pull weeds. I'm like, for the love of God. So
I've got this random bush in my front yard. Tell me what it is. I don't like it. And you're like,
no. Yeah. I love going to those functions when I say I do landscaping. It's exactly the question. I got this tree. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm thinking about saying something else. Like, I've always said, like, what should I say to cover my identity as a landscaper so I don't get that call of like, I'm a mechanic or something. They're like, okay, whatever. Yeah. Say something different so you don't get the
I'm in politics. That's probably what I should start saying, because no one, you
Yeah,
know,
that's a good way to do that.
I'm a political priest. You want to talk about anything? Because the answer is no.
That's
Uh,
good. That's good. So explain real quick on this pool thing. Hidden Creek Landscape and their culture, their business is kind of set to what it is, right? And then and get this other business. Is it separate from the two, like being on each side of the town, or do you combine the two together for the team activities to make it all one? Explain that dynamic and what you're working with.
yeah, that was my first acquisition. I hope of potential many in the future. Can't wait to do it over again. I can
Yeah.
tell you that much. Hindsight's definitely 2020. When we first did it in 2020, right as COVID was hitting, we actually enrolled in something called EOS, which stands for the Entrepreneurial Operating System. We had hit our ceiling. We were disorganized. We were all over the place. Turnover was bad. So we kind of reformulated who we were, got our core values in place, got our core focus in place, 1-year strategy, 3-year strategy, using traction tools, all these things. Well, right as we're implementing all this, we buy this pool company with a completely different culture. And so year one, to be honest, I didn't really touch the pool company at all.
Yeah.
I would go out once every 2 weeks. I'd visit with the prior owner. We would talk business. I would meet with the staff. I'd show up with donuts once in a while. They didn't have to wear our uniform. They didn't have to come to our meetings. They could still smoke, even though we had a no smoking policy.
Yeah.
We'd really just tried to leave them alone, and we retained 100% of the employees.
Okay.
I also gave raises, more time off as well. Year two rolls around, we start to bring in the uniforms. We start to invite them to our monthly company meetings. We start to bring them into our quarterly meetings, which through EOS, you do a quarterly state of the company, if you will. And we started to give them more of the PTO and more of the benefits. They got raises again. And again, they got raises equivalent to what we were doing on the landscaping side. So it wasn't, they were just I hate to say it, our entire industry, the entire field industry has been underpaid for a long time. COVID really did a good job, in my opinion, of getting us right again. Now, as an owner, I'd love to sit here and say, what do you mean get us right? It's costing me a ton of money. We all should have known we were on borrowed time, and really our clients are paying for it.
Right.
So it's not costing us anymore. It's costing us what it always was in terms of a percentage if we're doing it right.
Yep.
So year three that we're finally in, we have a full integration. They know our staff. We know their staff. They're fully uniformed over there. They're adhering to 90% of our policies and procedures. The problem we're still having is they still run as a division, like our construction runs as a division. And we're still working through some of these things. We're both working on a dual project, and we're both ordering limestone caps, and we're calling different suppliers and having delivered to the same job. Yeah. Because they have their project managers and we have our project managers, and they're not really working together yet.
Yeah.
And I'd say the toughest part about that too, Tommy, was when he was booked out 2 years, we only had 2 of those projects. So he was still doing pools for other landscapers, other builders. We weren't getting any work. I wasn't as bought into those projects because I'm like, this is crazy. I can't sell my own pools. Mm-hmm. We had to use a subcontractor to do a bunch of pools and had a awful experience. Mm-hmm. Literally had to fire the guy midway through 5 or 6 projects, and had to have our now pool division come in and fix those projects.
Wow.
So
it's not easy transition. And I like the fact that you just sort of softly transition to that, right? You're going to figure out who everybody is, figure out their systems and processes, if there is any, understand the company and how they work, and then start to make the moves and changes with the anticipation of some fallout at some point. That's natural.
And I'd say the one hindsight I had on it, I just shared this with my peer group, while I let all those things work personality wise and what I would call the human resource side of things, I didn't grab a hold of the financials. And that's the thing I should have grabbed day one, completely taken over financials. And because I was busy with my own problems, and kind of let my team talk me into, well, look, we're too busy. We'll do that later. I dropped the ball, and
Yeah.
I should have forced the accounting side into our world instantaneously and not taken no for an answer.
Yeah. Like I've said before, here in coaching, finances are the blood test of your business, right? It's everything under the skin or under the hood. And you can
Yeah.
tell a lot about a company. And if that choice was made up front, maybe things would have been a lot different and even better. I totally understand. And that goes to the same for the business you're in now, the landscape business. And if you don't know those, you're behind the eight ball, right?
Very quickly. So we lost time, we lost efficiencies, we haven't lost clients, we haven't lost staff. Our name is strong, we're selling projects, but we all know it's easy to look in the rearview mirror and say, man, we could have been sitting on a lot more money right now if I would have done a better job with this. So like
Yeah.
anything, first big acquisition, I'll be more ready for the next one.
Yeah. Good. Understand. So your role as owner has evolved quite a bit. And
Yeah.
in the years that you've been in business, from bartending to doing, payroll at 12 o'clock at night to what you're doing today. What's it like for you today, managing that size of a company? If anyone is just getting started or sort of in the weeds of a small business, what to aspire to down the road, or in order to develop their business to get to where they need to be, like what do you do now?
Oh God, how much longer do we have?
Yeah.
You're right. From a small company, anyone in this industry, and I'll say it, maybe it's true or it's not. For us, it was. I never went into landscaping to own a $20+ million company. My partner and I were like, man, if we do $1 million, we're going to be rich, right?
Yeah.
Well, $1 million, we didn't have anything. So we just kind of kept going, and the roles did definitely evolve over the years. I was a foreman, project manager, operations manager. I did payroll myself. I did most of the books. And that was one of the things that did somewhat evolve is I got more into the business side of the company. So I was dealing with the invoicing, the accounting, the payroll, where my partner was running more of the operational side of things. So as we kept growing, the business side really started to speak to me. I started to love the marketing side. I started liking to meet with my accountants. I started liking to talk
Wow.
about forecasting, the strategy. We started hiring consultants to come in, even though we thought we knew everything. Consultant came in, would just laugh almost the first hour.
Yeah.
And so I
What is this?
really started to pick up on others in the industry, what consulting could do. And in really just the past few years is where I became the CEO in the last 4 years, because there's even confusion between myself and my partner. And we had a mom-dad factor. If one said no, well, I'm just going to go to the other one because he doesn't know what's going on. So we finally had to put it to where there was one person in charge. So it really was one voice who does try to set the rules and the standards.
Yeah.
Currently, to this day, I sit in quite a few roles. I sit in what's called the visionary role. So I'm the person in charge of the brand. They say the face of the company. It doesn't have to be a pretty face. It just has to be the one who understands the company
Just
the
a
most.
face.
Yes, just a face.
Yeah.
Short face, according to most everyone else in my peer group who
Yeah.
makes fun of me.
We can tell on this show, so we're good, right? Yeah.
Trust me, there's no way I was doing this standing today. So I sit as a visionary. Then I also currently sit in the director of sales and marketing. And I'm trying to currently hire for that role because it does eat up quite a bit of time. Problem is, I love selling and I love marketing.
Yeah.
So whoever I put in that role, they need to know that I'm going to try to tell them what to do for probably a year.
Yeah.
So if they say you're micromanaging me, I'm going to say, no, we're calling it training
Yeah.
because that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. And the other owner does what?
The other owner currently is a project manager on our design build side. So he runs that and he runs our safety, quality, efficiency. So he is, if he and I walk into a room and they see me, I get that nod of, hey, it's Hefe, respect.
Yeah.
He walks into the room and they're like, hey, it's Fun Guy. And they're high-fiving him, right? I don't get the high fives. I get the nods like, okay.
You're the nod guy. Well, I
Yeah,
like, in all seriousness, I like the role. I've always coached to defining the role, right? And the whole mom and dad effect is very common in multiple owner companies, right? It is, I don't need who to report to. I'm always like, he said this and he said that. And it's confusing, but you have, if when there's multiple owners involved, you have to say, no, Jason is this and Bob is this at the end of the day, right? And I bet there was some probably confusion with you guys, like you had mentioned. It's just you got to define those roles with between both of you.
yeah. And
Yeah.
he worked great with a high-end client. So we kind of found his best skill set, which is it's very selective. And he and I had a big talk, and that's kind of what we just came up with to be the best for the company. So
Yeah. Love it.
um,
Love it.
yeah,
That's
and
good.
it is, yeah, I really I currently like where I am. I sit on a leadership team of only 3 right now. We're missing some roles, which in time, director of sales and marketing would sit on that leadership team, and HR would sit on that team, and finance would sit on that team.
Yeah. You are in an interesting peer group that is particularly the larger companies of all of our groups. There is no shy of competitiveness, egos, shame, anything else. Call your bluff because you said you're going to do this. What does peer groups mean to you? Maybe you were probably slightly skeptical about getting in and going, man, I don't know about this whole thing, but I'm willing to bet that you've enjoyed it and you get a lot out of it, because what a better way to hold an owner accountable for doing what they said they were going to do. There's no one else that's going to do that besides the power of our peer group.
Yeah, it's a great story, to be honest, and I'm really
Yeah.
always proud to tell it. I was 100% against peer groups. Didn't believe in them. What's the point? Type of thing. But then, of course, I was like, you still can't help but look into it, right? So I had a friend who came to see me. I hosted a big event with another consultant in our industry back in 2000, and I think it was 19, I want to say, maybe 18. And he came to visit, and he and I just became instant friends. And we kept going back and forth. He's like, you really need to join this peer group I'm in. And I said, yeah, no, I'm too busy. I'm not doing it. And he'd call me a month later. Did you sign up? I'm like, I'm not doing it. Like, just let it go. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Then he called me the month later. He's like, hey, I forgot to tell you, I signed you up for the peer group. I'll see you
Really?
February in New Orleans. I'm like, you know what? I've never been to New Orleans. I'm going to go. I want to see what this is all about.
Yeah.
And of course, it's kind of like grow, but you're in your own individual group.
Smaller. Yep.
Small. And so I was like, okay, well, this was pretty cool. And at the end of it, I'm like, you know what? It was, and honestly, I still believe to this day, I always felt like for what the charge is, it's a very strong investment.
Yeah.
And so the first year I'm like, okay, I'll sign up for it. I'll see what it's all about. And it became instantaneously a return on investment for me. Because our group, like you said, is exactly as you described it.
Yeah.
We all do it.
It's exactly what you need, right, Jason? Right. I mean,
Well, yeah. So if you guys use DISC assessments, there's all these different, the Gallup strengths and all that. I'm what's considered a high D and a high I. So I'm inspirational, which means my D is I'm egocentric, and my I means I'm an influencer, which means don't worry if you don't like my idea. Give me 20 minutes and you're going to like my idea.
let me convince you why this is the best thing ever.
Ever, right? That's why I'm probably still married 25 years. I keep convincing her, trust me, it still is going to get better.
I'm in the same boat as you. I'm an influencer. Let's go. Give me 5 minutes of your time and I can sell you on that. I just convince my wife all the time that we're the greatest ever power couple and I'm awesome. And she's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. Same at my house.
Yeah.
And I'm a big extrovert, and a lot of the group is. So even though not everyone in the group is a high D, high I, there's enough in the group that it's been really a great balance between all of it. And it's been really fun. And I've had some guys in there, when I make excuses or have reasons why I didn't hit it, they kind of just look at you like, seriously?
Yeah.
You're making excuses. Like,
Yeah.
Jason, we don't have time for this. We're only here for 2.5 days.
Yeah.
Be honest with yourself. And I've had quite a few guys call me out and made me better. I've established strong relationship with these guys. Even, you have your accountability calls once a month with your assigned person. I still reach out to a bunch, and I still talk to people in other groups as well too that I've made friends with. So to give, obviously, Marty Grunder, who, was a big part of Grow, and obviously McFarland Stanford with Jim and Jason, and all you guys. I mean, I don't consider you guys acquaintances. It's really become a long-standing friendship and bond that, has made me better and will continuously make me better.
Yeah.
And yes, you're damn right. I want to beat the people in my group. And when just came off our last meeting and my numbers were the worst, no one says anything because the numbers don't need to be discussed. They're just there for you to know.
Yeah.
Guess who did better than you this quarter? So
yeah. So watch out, Pure Group, because Jason's coming in full throttle in the fall, right? So
yes, absolutely. I am doing my best. So
yeah. So Jason, as we wrap things up, I mean, there's a lot of good information here. What's one thing of advice for anyone out there that's listening? We've got an array of audience, anyone from small, medium, large, just getting started, grumpy person in a pickup truck that's seen it all. What's something advice that you would share with us that you've just learned along the way?
I'd say it's still our number one struggle today, Tommy. And if I could fix it, I would. How you do things every day. The military is the definition of this, right?
Yeah.
They've been making their bed the same way for 100 years. Yeah. They've been, cleaning their right. I mean, they do it. I've read the book, I've read Extreme Ownership. I've read every Patrick Lencioni book. I mean, I read the business books, which, by the way, everybody should be reading books. I don't care if you don't like it. I hate reading, and I have to read, I think, 6 to 7 books a year because I make myself do it. So stop making excuses there. But the core processes are what really can help when somebody leaves and somebody new comes in. And in a world of turnover, field staff, office staff, we've all seen it. Growth, even not turnover, just growth alone. Someone needs to walk in and know what their job description truly is. They need to know what their processes are to follow. Because if you're letting the person who's been there for 6 months teach them, you're in a lot of trouble. And they're going to do it the way they used to do it at their old company. And if you can't get back through that checklist, trust me, you're going to look back 2 years later and you're going to have 30 people doing it 30 different ways. So holding people accountable to what that process is and what their job description is key.
Yep. And accountability is a positive term, right? Not a negative.
100%.
And I think I've learned that along the way, right? For years, I was like, oh man, that's such a bad word, but it is a great word because people want accountability. People want structure. I think the landscape in general, we're just sort of loosey-goosey about everything. We just assume you should be a account manager, but define an account manager is what we don't do.
Yeah.
Very well. Right.
Totally. I mean, the accountability is the star on a helmet. It's not because you scored a touchdown. It's because you ran the play like you were supposed to, right? There was a disadvantage and you found a way around it to say, I'm going to get to it. Yeah. Not a touchdown. It's you ran and did everything you were supposed to do for the team. Yeah. We can count on you.
So. Everyone did their job.
Yep.
In order to score the touchdown. Well, Jason, it's been a pleasure, buddy. We've got to do this again. I've enjoyed the conversation. We might have to have another panel discussion at Grow next year.
Love it.
Do this all over and see what we've learned in the past 12 months. But it's been a pleasure. I'm going to get up there at some point and check out the facility because I'm excited and I want to see it in person. So thank you for your good inside information to what you've been through. Good luck and great success down the road. And we'll see you soon.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Ready to take the next step? Download our free profitability scorecard to quickly create your own baseline financial assessment and uncover the fastest ways to improve your business. Just go to mcfarlandstanford.com/scorecard to get yours today. To learn more about McFarland Stanford, our best-in-class peer groups, and other services, go to our website at mcfarlandstanford.com, and don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. See you next time on The Roots of Success.